everybody. Welcome back to Author Chat. Today I have with me my very first nonfiction author, Alexis Cano. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Terry. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks. Now, your book is called The What If Diet Plan and
Yes,
Transform Your Body and Life Through Intermittent Fasting.
that's right.
Can you tell us a bit about your book and kind of explain intermittent fasting for the audience, for those of us who might not know what it is?
Yeah, sure. So my book is about, and it's about my personal journey. Honestly, the first, I want to say third part of the book is about my personal journey. I grew up overweight. I've been overweight my whole life. I mean, well, not right now, but as a child and in high school, I got up to 230 some pounds. I was a size 20. And I just assumed that I really, it's like I knew I was overweight, but I really didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know anything about nutrition or calories or, anything like that. I didn't even know why they called it Diet Coke. It was just, all of that was beyond me. So in high school, I actually started, I guess, fasting, intermittent fasting, which basically intermittent fasting just means a period of not eating. And the thing about intermittent fasting, quite honestly, we do it every day. If you sleep, you're not eating, you're intermittent fasting. So of course there's different variances on that, and I can touch on that later. But basically in high school, senior year of high school, I ended up accidentally skipping breakfast one day, and I was so scared that I was going to be bad in class, and I was going to lose concentration and focus, and I was going to be starving by lunch. And I realized that that didn't happen. So, and it was so convenient just to kind of not have to eat breakfast. I could just, I could sleep in a little bit. So I started kind of doing that and just kind of seeing, what happened. And then eventually noticed that I wasn't really hungry for lunch either. And I wasn't, and eventually I started eating just dinner and maybe some snacks. Now, the thing is, back then, this is the late 90s, there was no such thing as intermittent fasting. It was very taboo what I was doing, and I was a little bit secretive about it. My friends knew, my closest friends knew, but they didn't see any bad side effects. They didn't see any, they didn't think what I was doing was unhealthy, because I wasn't really making myself not eat. It was just, I wasn't hungry. Well, I ended up losing about 45 pounds in a few months. And then I got to college, and once I got to college, I thought, okay, what? No more of this starving myself. That's the only thing I could think of at the time to call it. Um, so I went back on the conventional, 3 meals a day, snacks, all that kind of stuff. And I actually dove headfirst into learning nutrition, exercise, all of that. And unfortunately, first I gained a bunch of my weight back. And then second, I started learning more about diet and exercise, and I became obsessed with it. So I became obsessed with calories and carbs and, just anything that I thought would help me lose or maintain my weight. So I did eventually get down to 130 pounds, and I was eating a lot of food because at that time I was following the volumetrics diet. But I was also exercising like crazy. I mean, running 7 miles a day, just craziness. Anyway, so I just kind of go through my journey. That's the first third of my book. Um, After 3 kids, fast forward to my mid 30s, after 3 kids and a career, gained all the weight back, and not all of it, but most of it back. I was 200 pounds. But at this point of my life, I thought, you know what? I'm in my mid 30s. I'm a mother of 3. I have a successful career, a good marriage. Who cares? I don't need to be skinny. And that's when I again discovered intermittent fasting. But this time there was a name for it. And, I thought, you know what? What if this is something that can help me, not just lose weight, but be healthy? Because there are so many health benefits to fasting. And what if I didn't ruin my body in my younger years? That's what I thought had happened. I must have just ruined my body with all that yo-yo dieting. There must be something wrong with me. What if there's nothing wrong with me? And that's basically where this book came from. It was born out of a little bit of anger, a little bit of frustration, because it's like I had the answer there all along, and I thought I was doing something bad, and turns out I was just following my body's natural cues. And then it also was born out of the freedom that I found through intermittent fasting. And I basically take people through that journey, but then I also give three very specific things on how you can implement intermittent fasting into your own lifestyle, as well as shift your mindset around the different areas that we have, beliefs about food, about culture, about your body, about the way your body should work, the way you should look, the way we should eat. So what I try to do in my book is I really try to make it, you can create your own plan. And I even talk about the word diet. The definition of the word diet is not even what we think it is. It's supposed to be a way of living. It's not supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be difficult. So sorry, I know that was a long description.
No, it was perfect. It was
I get very
perfect.
passionate when I talk about it.
It was perfect. No, and as a brief disclaimer, we are not doctors. Nothing
Oh
that we're
no,
going to talk
yes.
about should be construed as medical advice. Don't stop or start doing anything,
Yes.
particularly if you have medical issues, without discussing it with a trained medical professional. That's
Yes,
just my brief
definitely.
disclaimer on this. As I was thinking about that as you were talking, Alexis, that I do wanted to make sure I put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
And because I do know, I mean, I am familiar with intermittent fasting. I have been doing it a little bit briefly. I've gone on sort of a non-conventional journey with my health as
Oh,
well. And I know you didn't know about this, when we set up this interview, but I do, and so I know a little bit about it. I do the
that's awesome.
one where I don't, after I eat dinner, I don't eat anything else for like the 12 hours. There's no snacking before
Mm-hmm.
bed or anything like that, because that's a very the easiest way for me
Yeah, I
to
love that.
do
That's
that.
awesome.
And so, and
And thank you for the disclaimer. I do have a disclaimer in my book, by the way.
of
So
course,
yes,
yes.
definitely check with your doctor and mental health professional as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, because we also do not want to promote disordered eating at all. It is all about holistic health
Yes,
all the way around.
exactly. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. You talk a little bit more. You had said something about there were different types of fasting. Do you want to go into that a little bit more?
Sure. So when I think of intermittent fasting, again, I really try to think of one, what are we comfortable with, our body, but also our lifestyle, what fits into our lifestyle. I love how you just described your own, method of fasting. I personally, I've never been a breakfast person. So for me, skipping breakfast or just pushing back my breakfast really was very natural for me. And it did take a little bit of getting used to at first because I was just so used to it. I was so used to cooking for my boys and eating with them. And it felt a little weird just sitting there and having coffee, but it really wasn't that difficult. And then eventually lunch too. And now I'm to the point where I have what you call a 24, so 20-hour fasting window where basically I don't eat for 20 hours a day, and then I eat within a 4-hour window. So
Okay.
that's my window. And some people will do what they call OMAD, which is with just one meal a day. I don't really consider myself an OMAD faster because I eat dinner, but I usually have a glass of wine or I have some fruit, which to me that's not part of my dinner. That's like more of a snack.
Hmm.
Sometimes I have a sandwich, and then but with me, I switch it up. If my husband is off one day because we have very different working schedules, kind of hard for us to get together without the kids. So he'll usually, hey, do you want to go have lunch? And yeah, I'll definitely have lunch with him. So, I'm very flexible. Again, for me, it's just all about what you can fit into your life, what works best for you.
Hmm.
And then there is also alternate day fasting where you can fast for a full day and you can or sometimes you can fast for a full day. Some people will eat like a lower calorie, like say 500 calories a day, and then the next day you eat normally and the next day you fast. For me, that's just a little too much upkeep, so I'm not a big fan, but a lot of people find success with that. And then again, you have the extended fasting. So um I've actually done, I think I did like an 80-hour fast one time, which I never in my wildest dreams, even the word fasting alone just used to, ugh, nobody wants to do that. But I've been living this lifestyle for 3 years now. 3 years. So I did not start out like that. I started very slowly, 12-hour eating window, very doable and in my opinion, very healthy. You know, you usually hear don't eat past 8 o'clock. So if you're eating breakfast at 8 in the morning and then your dinner, you know, you just don't eat past 8. So that's where I started. And again, eventually just kind of pushed back my breakfast a little bit, an hour at a time over the next few weeks. And that's where the phases come in. Phase 1 is basically start with a 12-hour window. Phase 2, you know, work on pushing your window back 12 hours, an hour at a time for the next few weeks until you find your sweet spot. And I've met so many people who, one of my friends actually who helped me, she's also an author actually. She helped me and she coached me a little bit last year when I started writing this book. And she actually emailed me. We haven't spoken since then. And she emailed me and she says, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I was kind of inspired by your book. Did you ever get it published?" And I have at this point. And she says, "I actually do I think it's a 1410." So is that right? That sounds weird to me for some reason. I guess she fasts for 14 hours and she eats within a 10-hour window, something like that. Yeah. So that's her sweet spot. That works for her. And she says, you know, I feel so much less bloated. And I love that it's just so flexible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a little bit, you know, when I talk about fasting or intermittent fasting, that's basically what I'm referring to.
Okay. So what sort of research did you do? How did you make sure that whatever information you included in your book was accurate?
That's a really good question. I do include pretty much all the scientific resources or articles. They are all in the book. They're all in the very back in the reference section. And I think I have at least 30, if not 40 articles that I've referenced. And some of them are medical journals, some of them are books. You know, and that was actually one of the things I was very nervous about when I wrote this book, because I definitely don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I have to do this. Fasting is so good for me. You know, it has its benefits, but it also has, just like anything else, its limitations. Or, you know, one form of fasting may not be the best thing for any one person. But I did do a ton of research for this book. And I at the time I was, well, still I am, I'm in the master's program and I work at a university. So I have great access to a wonderful library, online library with tons of medical journals and articles. And again, anything that I put in the book, any facts that I have in the book, I reference them. So that is where, you know, in the Kindle version, I believe I have links as well, where you can click on it, you can actually go to the article. But again, everything is in there, everything's referenced. And then I also, you know, I mentioned in my book, if you want to know more about the science, please, please, please read The Obesity Code by Jason Fung, Dr. Jason Fung. He is the godfather, at least right now, of intermittent fasting. And there's just so many more. Oh gosh, I'm lost with his name, but there is another doctor that Walter Longo, Dr. Walter Longo. He's done so much research on fasting and cancer and just incredible research. So I reference a lot of them, and I encourage people who are interested in the science to please read their works.
Okay. What do you find are some misconceptions, or what are some common misconceptions about fasting?
I know for me, when I, you know what, yeah, I mean, so I think one of the misconceptions, there's so many. One, I think people think you have to fast for a long time to see benefits. I think that's the first one. And like I said, I really recommend if you're interested and if you're healthy, if you're in the right mindset, right mind space, which is very important, start with a 12-hour window. Again, very doable, and see if it works for you. So I think that's one of the big misconceptions is people think, I know I did. I thought, well, I have to fast for 24 hours a day, or, you know, I was thinking, I had this kind of image of monks, you know, on a mountain.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think too, people think, well, I'll do it when I don't have anything else to do, because you kind of feel like, oh, I'm going to be really tired or really hungry the whole day. You know, so that's one of the misconceptions. Another misconception, I think, is that, you know, weight loss in general, when people want to lose weight quickly, I think they think, oh, fasting's the way to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can, it's possible, especially if you do an extended fast, but to me the scale is just a horrible predictor of health and of permanent weight loss. So I really just encourage people, if you're trying to lose weight, I know it seems counterintuitive, but don't look at the scale. It's not your friend. It lies. And just really, I have found for myself and for others that focusing on getting healthy and changing your mindset, changing your habits, that is really the key. And the weight loss will just happen. I mean, before you even know it, you realize like, oh, and two, you'll see other non-scale victories, other non-scale benefits. Your clothes will start fitting you looser. And that actually happened to me at some point. I actually plateaued for 170 pounds for, I would say, about a year. But during that time, I kept getting smaller. It was so strange. My body composition changed. I don't know if I was losing fat and gaining muscle. I'm not sure. But that's another one, that fasting is quick weight loss, and that's not always the case. And then last, I want to say, just that it's just, I guess, losing weight or getting healthy is not doable. We all think we have to go to the gym, we have to sweat, we have to burn calories, there's just so many things out there. We have to take supplements. That I think people think there's this magic bullet, and there's not. It's really, even if you find that magic bullet, is it something that fits in with your lifestyle? Is it something you're going to do for life? Is it something that you find joy in doing? um, I think that's just the biggest thing. We always want to focus on the end goal instead of focusing on what we're doing here and now and what's really important to us. Um, I don't know if that was a misconception. I don't know if I answered that right, but just something I wanted to throw out there, I guess. Hopefully it helps.
That's good. So how would you suggest, if someone was interested in starting out with that, what would be what would you suggest they do? Would you suggest they start with the pushing the breakfast back time? Would that be, or just figuring out which one sounds easiest for them, or?
Yeah, I actually that. So again, I always suggest start with the 12-hour window and see what works for you. If I have a friend who has also done intermittent fasting. She's actually lost 70 pounds, I want to say, in maybe about a year or two. And she loves her breakfast. She loves, or no, I'm sorry, for her, I don't think it's breakfast, it's lunch. She loves her lunch. And then she's dinner, she's not that hungry at dinner. So, but she loves to have her lunch, and she enjoys having lunch with her husband. Her and her husband are lucky enough to work in the same company. So that is her, her preference. And I don't think she does like a 20-hour window. Again, to me, it's just whatever works for you. But that's basically it. Just start with a 12-hour window, see what works for you. And if you feel comfortable, maybe try, I say, either bring it in, or I'm sorry, push it back, which is breakfast, or bring it on in, whatever is most comfortable for you. I enjoy having a glass of wine at night, or for some reason, fruit in a sandwich. That's like my go-to nighttime bedtime snack. I don't know why, but that's my biggest thing. I love having an apple right before I go to bed. There's just something about that. I guess it's a habit. But I actually talk about in the book where I wanted to try bringing my window in and stop eating that nighttime snack, and it was just causing me more misery than necessary. So I decided, you know what, that's not necessary. But that's basically it. And yeah, that's I think that's a good place to start. 12-hour window, and again, just see what time frame works for you.
All right. So, let me think here. All right. So you're a Are you a clinical
Oh,
psychologist yet?
no,
No.
not yet.
Okay.
No.
You are not. You
I'm
have
in the
a
master's.
master's. You have or you're getting a
I'm in the
master's
master's program. Yeah, I'm
of
earning it. Yes.
clinical mental health counseling. So,
Yes.
um, how do you think that mental health links with your physical? Is
Oh my
there?
goodness. Immensely. Oh gosh, there's just so many. I guess, to me, ultimately, physical health I mean, I'm sorry, mental health is ultimately, I don't want to say more important. They're just they're equal, and I don't think people realize that. For me personally, when I started this journey back in 2018, I
Mhm.
had already been through at least a year of self exploration, self love. I had gotten really big into meditation, which taught me a lot about self love, taught me a lot about self worth and self compassion. And I truly believe that if I were not in that mind space, and I was also in the master's program in 2017. That's where I started, and I think that learning about all of this is really what helped me to be gentle with myself and really focus on what works for me and what, again, just not focusing on the weight, but focusing on creating a healthy lifestyle for myself and for my family. And I think that's where the mental health aspect comes in. You really have to be in a good mind space to love yourself through this process, because I've been in the mind space where when I lose 10 pounds, when I lose 20 pounds, then I deserve the good things. Then I deserve to be loved. Then I deserve to wear jewelry. Then I deserve to buy clothes. And, that's just, it's not a good long-term
Mhm.
solution. It really isn't. And most often you are going to gain the weight back. And I guess that's where, self-love is just so important. It's more permanent, and you are more, you're more willing to, I guess, learn from your mistakes than if you're, in a negative mind frame. When you're in a negative mindset, any mistake you make, you just want to punish yourself for it. And that's usually going to lead back to emotional eating, or, some other, just watching TV, and let's forget about, going outside for a walk, that kind of thing.
Right.
But when you're in a better mental space and mentally healthy, you're much quicker to forgive yourself and think, you know what, I really don't like the way this went. What can I do to improve upon it next time? And that's where mental health comes in. It's so important for this, any kind of process, any kind of goal oriented process. And that actually leads into the third phase of my plan, which is watch yourself. And when I say watch yourself, I talk about this in the book. It reminds me of, I was referring to Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Again, one of those books, I think I've read it like 2 or 3 times already, but he talks about being the watcher of your thoughts. And I never understood what that meant until I started meditating and realizing, oh man, there's so much mind chatter going on in there that we don't even realize is there. And that's where watching yourself, watching how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others about yourself, how you describe yourself. I would notice that I was putting myself down a lot, and it would always be, in humor and good humor.
Yeah.
But it's really important to do that and to catch that. And again, not beat yourself up for it, because I've done that too, where it's like, oh, why am I still thinking this way? But just saying, you know what, that's not that great. Why don't we see if we can change that about ourselves and about myself? And in doing that, you are able to, shift your mindset, shift your beliefs about yourself again. And I talk about, I give so many examples in the book of what if questions, good what if questions you can ask yourself, because there are good what if questions, helpful what if questions, and there are bad ones. There are ones that don't help you. um the example that comes to me all the time is I don't like flying. So every time I fly, I'm in a plane. What if the plane crashes? What if I never see my children again? What if I never make it home? Those are horrible what if questions. They are not going to help me at all. And so again, it's about and the thing about asking what if, it really is directing your mind towards what you're going to think about. So if I'm asking what if this plane is going to crash, my mind is just focusing on that one thing. But if I ask, what if I enjoy this vacation? What if I find I can't, the plane thing is kind of beyond me. I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
Just don't like flying. And I've flown several times. I usually have to I have to take a lot of books with me and distract myself. And I work on it a lot beforehand. But, so for example, I work a lot on changing my beliefs. So one of the beliefs I had was, and this is very recent. My beliefs have evolved, I guess, over time. But one of my recent beliefs was, oh, I'm just a big eater. I like to eat a lot of food. The volumetrics diet worked great for me because I was eating a ton of food. Now it was healthy. It was tons of big salads and soups and all that. And I finally caught myself one day and I thought, well, you know what? That's just a belief I have. What if I'm not a big eater? What if I can, eat smaller portions and be satisfied? And then from there, I created a small action plan for myself. I started leaving 3 bites of food on my plate, eating with my non-dominant hand, just to kind of, again, make myself aware rather than just kind of stuffing my mouth. And, and then once those habits became a little bit easier to do, then I brought in something else. Okay, instead of buying these, I would get those giant family-sized bags of salads.
Mhm.
Instead of doing that, just get a pre-portioned salad. Instead of eating half a chicken, which I know sounds insane, but that's what I was eating. Or it sounds insane to me now. At the time, it's like, well, it's chicken, it's good for you. Instead of eating half a chicken, half a baked chicken, I would eat half a breast and a thigh, and just start small. Ice cream, instead of eating the full pint, eat the half pint. If you're already eating a half pint, eat a couple of spoonfuls. And that's where I'm at now. But really, it's starting where you're at. And I think that's, again, where that good mindset comes in, having that self-compassion. Start where you're at, and then what can I do to improve this over time? And the weight loss, that's just a side effect. It's just a side effect of your good physical and mental health, or getting healthier. Sorry.
Perfect. No, love it. Love it. Perfect message. So do you have another book
Oh gosh.
upcoming, or no?
I have one in mind, but wow, it took me 2 years to write this one. So one of the things I was asked a lot when I released this book was, what exactly do you do? Because in the book, I talk about the 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is start with your 12-hour window. Phase 2 is push it back and bring it in. And then phase 3 is watch yourself. But people wanted to know what exactly, like, I want to know exactly what you do when you ask yourself these what if questions. Then what? So I've always done it. I always journaled, and then I would write my what if questions. And then from there I would create, again, like a little action plan, but I don't talk about that in the book. And I guess I did that purposely because I wanted people to come up with their own method for, again, what works for them. Some people don't like journaling. I didn't at first, but now I've found that, man, the power of writing. So I actually came up with a worksheet, and I basically took what I do personally and I put it on a worksheet, and I call it the what if mind shift. And it's basically, what's your goal, or what's the issue you want to work on? What is all the mental chatter, which are just basically your thoughts and beliefs about this goal or this issue? What are 5 what if questions that you can ask yourself to help you focus on getting towards that goal or resolving your issue? And then pick the best what if question, the one that resonates with you the most. There's usually one that really just, oh man, that it helps a lot. Then create an action plan. What can you do now? What small changes can you make right now, or small steps can you take right now towards this goal? And you may not reach your goal by next week, but at least you'll be making small increments towards it. And then the last thing I put in there is your why. Why do you want to do this? Because that was one thing, I would do this. I would ask my what if questions. And the example I give in the book is not eating at night. That was one thing I tried changing. Don't eat at night. But my why was not a very good one. My why was, well, because it's not healthy. Well, because, they say it's bad for you, that kind of thing. But it wasn't a good why. I like spending time with my husband. I enjoy watching TV with him at night. And again, we have different schedules. So a lot of times that's our time together. That is a much more important why than because conventional diet wisdom says it's not good to eat at night. So for me, that why was very important. And that's where I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep my eating window at night. And it worked for me. So again, I call it the What If Mind Shift. It is available on my website. It's free. And it's just a simple worksheet to kind of help you through this, help you reach your goals, help you overcome, these beliefs that you might want to change about yourself or about your, what you think about food or culture, your body. I use it all the time. I use it. Yeah, just I'm constantly doing a what if mind shift on myself. But sorry, in reference to your question about the book, I thought this would make a great book. So that might be something I do in the future, the what if mind shift, because I found that, yes, I did use this to help me lose weight and get healthier, but I'm also using it in other areas of my life. So I really think it could help people if I released that book, but that's sometime in the future.
Where can readers find out more about you?
They can go to my website. It's www.thewhatifdietplan. I almost said mind shift. Thewhatifmindshift.com. I can't believe it. Well, actually, you know what? If you do go to thewhatifmindshift.com, it will actually take you to my website. But my official website is www.thewhatifdietplan.com. And from there, like I said, you can download the worksheet. You can see a video, an introductory video. You can see a preview of my book as well. You can also follow me on Facebook, The What If Diet Plan. I'm on Instagram, on Twitter, all The What If Diet Plan. I am right there.
All right. And as always, I will have all of Alexis's info down in the description box. You can find her there. And while you're there, give us a like. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and put those in the comments, and either I or Alexis will come in and answer those if you have them. So I appreciate your time today, Alexis. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here and I'm really excited. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.